the afternoon session. Now, I'd like to invite Dr. Ozuchi. The title is The Contribution of BioBran to Holistic Medicine. He's now Director of Japan Functional Food Organization, and he's also Director of several clinics. He is an expert of cancer treatment using holistic approaches. He has a lot of kinds of practices, including Western medicine. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much for your kind introduction. Today, I'm going to talk about cancer treatment using holistic approach. I've been doing this for 36 years, and Japan Holistic Organization has established in 31 years ago. I have a lot of slides, so I may not be able to cover all the slides today. Now, let me start. I think you will know holistic medicine. There is no need for explanation. In 1960s, this movement started. This word originated from holos, Greek word, and the other related words include whole, holy, and health. Holistic medicine is to look at the entire body of patients. We have to look at entire body, mind, and spirit as one. Time-wise, we don't look at not all the diseases, but also we look at the life after life. Once again, holistic medicine is to look at the entire body, mind, and spirit. The basic idea is holism. Holism is a way of comprehending the whole organism or system as an entity greater than and different from the sum of its parts. And this idea was first came from Dr. Jan Christmas Smuts in 1927. He published this book to describe this idea. One important thing about holism, the holism is about the field. It's not a mass, physical mass, this is a field. Talking about spirit, the energy in the internal energy field. Spirit is the energy in the internal energy field, and the mind is the reflection of the field. It's represented outside through brain cells. As to body, this is like a stagnation in the energy field. This is a phrase by Shinichi Fukuoka, molecular biologist. I think this is a very nice phrase. We grow up in the field. This is 1940s. This is the best time in Japanese history. I was a medical student back then, and I was also practicing karate when I was a student. And then I became a surgeon. And then I came to deal with the field within body of human being. In the natural world, we have layers of field. This is not my own idea. This idea is from Hiroshi Shimizu. He's an expert of field, and Joji Matsumoto. All of those experts say that the natural world has a lot of layers, starting from elementary particles to the emptiness. And the higher layer includes the lower layers. Therefore, the research result of the lower layer, if you want to apply to the higher layer, it's going to be difficult. Therefore, the Western medicine at the layer of organ, that cannot be applied to the entire body of a human being. That's why it's been difficult to treat cancer. Therefore, as the cancer is developed, the layer of human beings, we have to treat cancer in a holistic way, that's at the same layer level. And human beings are all travelers in the emptiness, so we are all lonely travelers. This is a picture from a film called Summertime. It's a movie from 1955. Director was David Lean, and this is Katharine Hepburn and Lausanne Blatzy. It was a very nice film. We all have these kind of emotions as we travel along our life. And there are many emotions in our life. We have a lot of emotions as we go through travel, and at the basis of all the emotions, we have sadness or sorrow. We always have the field and grief. It says the body is compared to a flower and emotion to its fragrance. Talking about medicine, medical treatment is expected to help a patient live in dignity as a human being throughout her or his life, even when he or she is suffering from a disease. From Iwanami Publishing Company, Introduction to Medical Science as Philosophy was published. This is about going back to the original medicine. We must redefine medical science as the ways and means by which people who are uncertain, impermanent, and imperfect existence can live closely together and help each other. Sorrows and sufferings that are deeply entrenched in our lives can be healed only by interactive approaches involving surrounding people. And talking about treatment strategy, in this book, it says there are 3 kinds of treatment strategies. Number 1, natural self-healing power. Number 2, psychochemical therapy. And number 3, interactions between physicians and patients. And natural self-healing power is about healing, and many alternative medicine is about natural healing power. And the second, physiochemical therapy is about the Western medicine, and the most important thing is the relationship between physicians and patients. How we can integrate those two is the most important aspect.
So in every field, the key to the victory is a strategy, not the tactics, but a strategy. So our strategy is as follows, and this is how our strategy is constructed. So that we are going to have a strategic meeting with a patient. So that first of all, we have to have a good job, so that in order to nurture the mind as well as the body by utilizing a good diet and exercising so the Kiko. And on the top of that, we can combine the different so that the methodologies such as homeopathy, alternative medicine, oriental medicine, and Western medicine by utilizing the so that the BioBran, so that in Chinese medicine, there is a teaching. So that the painter draw so that the painting of the dragon. So that in order to complete the drawing of the dragon, so that the eye is added. And then the dragon became the living animal, and he started to fly high. So BioBran is the last finishing portion in order to complete the entire picture. So how we live. So according to the Bergson, so that we are living with the delight and the creativity. So that thanks to the liveliness of our life, so that we continue to live, and then we are surrounded by the delight, and the delight is always accompanied by the creativity. So what are we going to create? By utilizing our efforts, and we are going to create ourselves. So this is a part of the self-achievement. So that within the delight, so that we have to achieve the self-achievement. So by enhancing, so that even we can get the pleasure, and we are able to enhance the immune system. So that this is based upon my experience, and it is supported by the philosophy of the Bergson. So that within our strategy, diet is very important. So that this is so that the precepts for the preservation of the health and the moderate portion of your favorite foods benefit your health. So this is a diet therapy for the cancer patients, and we serve in my clinics and the Qigong. So this is a Chinese and the martial art, and this is a breathe, so that controlling exercise, so that this is the dojo and inside of the hospital, and we are practicing a Qigong. This is a very important part of the holistic medicine. And the immunology, so that is getting a lot of attention. And the immunology is a part of the medicine of the field. And according to the Tomio Tada, this is a part of the immune therapy. There is a fifth generation of the Keytruda and the Obitsu as the immunotherapy drug. But strategically, so that they are not well matured yet. So I think the more attention will be given to the immunotherapy, so that they will be fulfilling its responsibilities as a part of the big strategy. So in order to execute these strategies, so that we have to count upon the intuition rather than the other, so that thought of something like that. Louis Pasteur, so that developed the analytical medicine, but he, so that the Berkel mentioned, no, not an experiment, but an intuition is more important. And William Dagger said strategic intuition is quite important. That means that he tried to combine the strategies and intuition, so that there are 4 points, and he stressed example from the history, and we have to have a presence of mind, and we have to have a flash of insights, and we shouldn't look at things too closely at the one glance, and we have to have a good flash of the idea. And then we have to have a very strong resolution or the resolve and a determination in order to implement this strategic intuition. And of course, a holism, and which is not 100% so that acceptable yet, because as a whole, so that is sometimes misunderstood. And Kitaro Nishida, the Japanese philosopher, mentioned the whole cannot be understood as a realized existence. This signifies unlimited expansion of relationships and the wholeness of the spirit, and has to be understood in the concept of the not limited and expanding whole things. So that great holistic medicine says, so that beyond being human, great holistic medicine involves every field of existence from the elementary particles to emptiness. So that I call it a great holistic medicine, so that I named it 2 years ago. And then, according to the Yuishiki, or the consciousness, and only so that of the Buddhism, so that there are 6 levels. So that on the top of that, there is the natural, so that the healing. So that the Western medicine is dealing with something very tangible, but in the so that the Oriental medicine, and we are dealing with something invisible. And then we are now seeing an emergence of the immunotherapy as the medicine of the field. So if we can perfect so that the immunotherapy, so that we are able to create the field of the invisible things, intangible things, so that integrate and holistic medicine, so that we can go beyond an isolated individual to the field, beyond the transient emotion to the deeper mind. And another idea is that we have to connect this world and the whole world to come. And then we have to integrate this world and the next world. And then this is sort of related to the philosophy of the Soseki Natsume, Japanese novelist. And he said in one of his novels, the moment that we die before achieving our ambitions, we might look back on our lives at a glance, and then we understand what life and death are really like. So that we have to have this kind of an insight, and not before, so that we die, and we have to integrate this life and the next life. So that this is an important concept of the holistic medicine. So in order to implement the great holistic medicine, so there are a number of the tactics, such as the immunity or the immunology, and the Chinese herbal medicine, and the acupuncture, and the Qigong, homeopathy, and the particle beam or the radio therapy, so that those are being developed as the tactics, and they have to be upgraded to the greater level of the strategies. So there are three principles of the holistic medicine, and as I mentioned, so that when it comes to what comes next in medicine, there will be the transition from the individual to the field, and the layers of the fields, and we have to have a transition from the layer of the human beings and to the every other layer, and then we have to have an integration of the heaven and earth, or the death and life. So I'd like to go to the specific cases. So in the case of BioBran, so that we have a strategic meeting between a doctor and a patient in order to come up with a strategy of that treatment, so that we have to decide whether we should utilize a BioBran. If a BioBran is needed, then where in the treatment course a BioBran has to be incorporated. So if the patients are utilizing a lot of other supplements, what would be the role of the BioBran? For example, so that this is the patient of the cancer in the right breast, and this cancer was very advanced. And so that the doctor decided to have a chemotherapy followed by the surgery. So neoadjuvant chemotherapy was decided. And at that time, she came to see me in my clinic, so that she wanted to get something in order to enhance the immunity in order to deal with the chemotherapy. So I proposed the BioBran. And then the surgery didn't take place in my hospital, but this took place at the prefecture cancer center. And after that, the surgery, hormonal therapy was administered for the 5 years and for this patient. At the same time, BioBran was started, and after the surgery, so the hormonal therapy finished, and 5 years after that, and the patient continued to have a BioBran, and the dosage decreased gradually at the year 10. So the BioBran was reduced down to the 1 pill per day, so that she has been on the BioBran for the 13 years. So previously, the cancer was very advanced, but there is no relapse. So I think this is due to the BioBran. So let's go to the next case. So next case is the patient of the malignant lymphoma, and the patient is younger at the age of 51, and the patient refused chemotherapy. So that the malignant lymphoma is very, very sensitive to the chemotherapy, but he said no, and he came to see me to look for the other alternative, and he started BioBran, and he started the Tai Chi, and then he had practiced Qigong, and then tumor marker, so that their values gradually went down. I said, although he is having some kind of anxiety, but because there is some fluctuation of the tumor marker, but with the Tai Chi and the BioBran, then he has been doing good. And the next patient is a malignant lymphoma, and like the previous case, so that he wants to try everything and the potential, so that from the Western medicine, including the chemotherapy, and after the treatment is over, and with the chemotherapy, he achieved the remission, and then he maintained the remission, and with the BioBran for about 8 years, and then he has been on the BioBran even today. Next is a colon cancer patient. So there is a metastatic lung cancer which was treated with a surgery, and the colorectal cancer, even there is a metastasis, and the surgery is the first option. And the patient has been on the BioBran for 13 years, and she is fit and well. So the next patient is first of all, the left breast cancer, followed by the ovarian cancer. And then during that period, she has been on the BioBran. But at the beginning, this and ovarian cancer first, and then followed by the left and breast or something like that. So this the same patient. So that 2015, so that she got a surgery for the right breast cancer, and then she has been on the BioBran for 4 years after the surgery of her breast cancer. So this is a chronic and lymphocyte leukemia. As the previous speaker in the morning mentioned, so the patient didn't start the treatment, so that then wait and watch a kind of a situation. No treatment was provided, and then wait and watch. And then Dr. Terry talked about the curcumin, about the patient is on the BioBran during the watch and wait and the state, and then white blood cell count is fluctuating over time. But the QOL is very, very high. So next is esophageal cancer patient. And after the surgery of the primary cancer and the adjuvant therapy, there was no adjuvant therapy available. So that this surgery was practiced at one of the university hospitals, but there is no adjuvant therapy, so that she was a little bit worried. That is why she came to see me in order to study BioBran, I think, and she has been on the BioBran for now 12 years. So there are many, many usage of the BioBran, but as I mentioned, this will be the final touching point in order to complete the entire picture, so that once it is started, it is more beneficial. The patient will stay in this therapy for a long time. So this is the end of my therapy. So thank you very much for your attention. So that there are so many slides. I don't know, I couldn't cover everything. So that I spoke very quickly, but then I think, and I am so that I have plenty of time. But anyway, I'd like to close my talk. Thank you very much for your attention.